when I retire from this game, I want to disappear. I want to go somewhere that they would not go and know me. I went to Sweden 2 years ago. Nobody knew me in Sweden.
Thanasis Antetokounmpo's performance in the recent NBA game against the Atlanta Hawks drew negative comments, playing just 8 minutes in a long-lost game, but producing enough phases for a pretty satisfying video of bad plays and picks. Why does he play in the NBA? Questioning NBA fans. So, is Thanasis Antetokounmpo actually bad in the NBA? Let's find out. He'd be working at McDonald's if it weren't for his brother, one NBA fan on X said. Giannis Antetokounmpo is a 28-year-old two-time NBA MVP, while Thanasis Antetokounmpo is a bench player who never averaged more than 10 minutes per game in any of his 4 previous seasons with Milwaukee. They each have a championship ring, one with the Bucks in the 2021 NBA Finals. The worst player in the NBA would still be one of the best basketball players in the world, and Bates made sure to remind everyone that there is more to being a good teammate than impressive statistics and a collection of awards. Thanasis Antetokounmpo's highlights have caused fans to attack Giannis and the nepotism that has kept Thanasis with the Bucks. Thanasis Antetokounmpo has been on the Milwaukee Bucks since the 2019-20 season and has been an end-of-bench option for years. Giannis Antetokounmpo has ensured his brother is in the NBA, and fans were criticizing him for nepotism. Fans clearly saw that Thanasis was not NBA caliber, but also praised Giannis for keeping his brother in the league. Fans were upset that Thanasis is keeping a roster spot away from a player with actual talent that could use the opportunity. His presence has been controversial for a while, though many people justified it when it first happened due to Thanasis still having some NBA value. He came into the league with the Knicks initially in the second round of the 2014 NBA draft. However, he's never been a rotational player and has been floating on the Bucks bench as a locker room guy for years. The 19-year-old showed an encouraging maturity in that observation and hopefully can apply those ideas to his own NBA career, which at times looked like it may not happen. A very highly touted high school player, he was expected to star when he went to the University of Memphis to play college ball. A back injury contributed to a disappointing freshman season there, and he then transferred to Eastern Michigan University for the 2022-23 campaign. Recently, the Milwaukee Bucks signed Thanasis Antetokounmpo, the older brother of reigning MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo, to a 2-year deal for the veteran's minimum. Thanasis spent 3 games on a bad Knicks team a couple of years ago after some fairly mundane work in the G League. Then he went back to Europe to play professionally, finding team success for Panathinaikos. In 2017-18, Antetokounmpo averaged 8-3 in the Greek League and just 3.6 points per game in the EuroLeague. In 2018-19, at age 26, he averaged 4.2 points per game in the EuroLeague. Now he's in the NBA on a 2-year deal. Needless to say, it's hard to imagine Thanasis getting another NBA shot if not for his last name and his brother's stature. The Bucks signing Giannis' brother 2 years prior to Antetokounmpo hitting free agency is a pretty flagrant attempt to curry favor. But you know what? It's totally fine. The Bucks have a roster spot to play with, and the vet's minimum doesn't really cost you anything with a roster spot. Milwaukee has confidence that its rotation can withstand the rigors of an 82-game season and another deep playoff run without using Thanasis' spot on a more classic end-of-the-rotation NBA vet or promising 21-year-old. If Thanasis' presence makes Giannis even 1% happier in Milwaukee or 1% more focused this season, then it's likely more valuable than any other end-of-the-bench asset. In fact, every title hopeful should have a roster spot reserved for a star's relative or a symbolic mascot. Heck, the Warriors did that with Andrew Bogut last year. Why not the Bucks and Thanasis Antetokounmpo? After a solid collegiate season, he was a second-round pick number 49 overall in the 2023 NBA Draft. From there, he impressed both Cavaliers teammates like Donovan Mitchell and other observers around the NBA to make it into the league. It is said that joining the Cavs has helped him rekindle his love of the game. He made his debut in the team's 3rd game, and in 2 games this season is averaging 4.5 points in almost 15 minutes per contest. But perhaps even more impressive is his willingness to speak out in support of an older fellow NBA player on another team with seemingly nothing to gain from doing so. Thanasis is known to challenge Giannis the most in the locker room without upsetting their dynamic, given that Thanasis is the elder brother, even if Giannis is far more talented. NBA rosters are 15 players deep because every team is likely going to have 12 or 13 players in the actual rotation over a season. Only 8 to 9 will ultimately make it onto a playoff rotation, so having the 15th guy on your roster be unplayable isn't that big a factor. The Miami Heat just had 2 finals runs with a thin roster and their 15th man being Thanasis Antetokounmpo. His presence gave them locker room stability and was worth the money. Thanasis may not influence the entire Bucks locker room, but he does have a lot of influence over his younger brother. Keeping Giannis happy by employing Thanasis is something every NBA team would do, so the blame should be more on the teams than the Antetokounmpos. Who would turn this down? Given the Bucks also signed and waived Alex Antetokounmpo to retain his G League rights, it's clear the franchise doesn't have a problem with bringing in more Antetokounmpos into their organization. Over his 4 seasons with the Bucks, Thanasis has averaged 2.7 points and 1.8 rebounds. He hasn't been an impactful player on the court, but he's still an NBA champion and will continue being on the roster until he can still remotely play basketball. Antetokounmpo has had the spotlight on him for a while now, albeit for the wrong reasons. Thanasis has been called the prime reason why nepotism is bad by fans, who firmly believe he is only on the roster because he is Giannis Antetokounmpo's brother. Even some NBA executives said Thanasis wouldn't be on any NBA roster if not for Giannis. That might well be true, as he is a bench warmer who is averaging 0.9 points, 0.5 rebounds, and 0.5 assists per game this season. We have seen situations like these in the past as well, though. Teams always go to great lengths to ensure that their superstar is happy, and if having his brother on the team appeases Giannis, then the Bucks would give him a spot. This was the first time that Lillard had done the celebration since joining the Bucks, and it appears his teammates were previously wondering why they hadn't seen it. During his post-game press conference, the 7-time All-Star spoke on why he finally decided to do it. Thanasis Antetokounmpo has a very lively personality. He is among those that bring motivational value and energy to his team off the bench. He is the sort of player to get into it with the opposition and get under their skin, which is an underrated skill in teams that want to win. He was also part of a championship team alongside his brothers, meaning that he has done something right. Regardless, if the Milwaukee Bucks feel that he has value to the organization, that's the only way they will keep him around. Despite being Giannis' brother, they had no problem letting go of Kostas Antetokounmpo. But if Thanasis wants to justify staying in the league, it would help for him to average more than a point per game when he does get the opportunity to get out on the floor. So that's it. Would not having Thanasis on the roster make a difference? Comment down your thoughts, and don't forget to share the video. Hit the like buttons and subscribe for more.